Please excuse any dog barking that may occur. Yes, I'm sat on the floor, and that's my business. So let's talk about season 2 of The Samurai Temperati.
Back when we were still changing for the better, one thing was enough. For me it was enough to live for the whole of it all. Cancel plans just in case you call, 'cause you meet me behind the mall. So much for summer love and saying us, 'cause you weren't mine to lose. You weren't mine to lose.
Because now it is finished, it is over, and I've seen all the episodes and I'm ready to talk about them. There basically won't be any kind of order to this video or to what I'm saying, to be honest. I'm just gonna blurt my thoughts at you essentially and tell you all the different things that I thought about it. So let's get into it. So I said this in my other video, but I really loved the changes that they made to Stephen and Taylor, because I personally did not really like Stephen in season 1. I just felt he was so mean, but they've completely rectified that for season 2. He's a way better brother, showing up for both Belly and his friends, so much more, and I'm just really happy with all the changes made in regards to him. I also think that Taylor's changes were good as well. I never disliked Taylor, even in season 1. I just think she just didn't get that much time to show how much of a good friend she is, and I feel like in this season she really did. So yeah, when I first started watching it, I found the tone quite weird at the beginning, but then as I was watching it I got used to it. But I think this is honestly just because I'm so used to season 1 and the tone of season 1, and because I've watched it literally 8 times, it's like the way they say their lines and stuff and the whole tone of it is just imprinted in me. But I did find season 2 an extremely different tone, but that's just something that, yeah, I got used to in the end. I think at first it was a bit like, oh, this is different. But as I watched, I got more used to it. My next point is just that this season was just so sad. It was so sad. I don't know if there was a single episode where I wasn't crying, to be honest. Just a really, really sad season, obviously, of all the things that they're dealing with, like the loss of Susanna and the grief. Just really, really sad overall. I mean, we had the prom scene, the funeral scene, the scene between Belly and Susanna before she dies, Conrad having his panic attacks, Belly crying to her mum, like just all these highly emotionally charged scenes that, yeah, I found very, very sad, and spent a large part of this season crying. This is really random, but I think about episode 4 maybe, when they go to the pier, there's flashback scenes with Belly and Conrad where Belly is supposed to be like 13, and I found it really weird that they used Lola, so they used the actress of Belly to play 13-year-old her. I don't know why they made that decision. I would have much preferred to have had a child playing her, because I think it just didn't work for me. They tried to make her look younger, but I was like, I'm watching Belly, like she looks the same. So yeah, that's just a really like random small thing, but yeah, just the fact that she was playing her younger self, I was like, why did you not just get a younger actor like they did in season 1? Like, I didn't really understand that choice myself, and it kind of like, I think it took me out of it, because I found it quite unbelievable to them trying to tell me that like this woman is 13. Like I wasn't feeling that. I said this in my other video, but I hated Conrad singing at the funeral. I just found it really awkward, and I don't know why it was added. I didn't think there was really a place for it, and it just kind of happened, and then it's over, and then it's like, okay. So I don't really understand why that was added, and yeah, it didn't really work for me. But on the vein of singing, I actually really liked Milo's diss track, Getting Even with Stephen. Why was it actually like a jam? Like, it's actually a good song. Like, when they were playing it, I was like, yeah, this is actually like a really good beat, and like really like smart lyrics as well. I really enjoyed that song. I loved it in, I think, episode 4 again, when at the end they come back to the summer house and see that it's all been emptied. Like, that was just so brutal, and I loved it so much. Like, it was like a punch in the gut, like just seeing their house completely empty. And I was also thinking about it, like, it's obviously their mother's house and now all the stuff is gone. They still obviously have it, but it's all gone. And I was thinking, I don't think there's any way that they'd ever be able to get everything back exactly where it was. Because I mean, who's going to remember that? I don't think I'd even remember that. And I doubt Conrad and Jeremiah are going to remember where every single like book went. Like, yeah, and that just like hit me so hard. The fact that even if they get all their stuff back and they get the summer house, they're never going to be able to recreate it exactly as it was, because I don't think anyone has a memory that perfect. And that's just really, really sad, and was so, yeah, so hard hitting, brutal on Julia's part. Can't believe she did that. And talking of Julia, I think I found her resolution quite unbelievable. The way that she was kind of adamant that she was selling this house the whole season, and then suddenly she has a conversation with Laurel and decides, oh no, I'm not going to sell it. I just found that quite unbelievable. Like, I just don't think that's going to happen if you were that adamant the whole time. I think it maybe would have worked better if she showed signs of swaying, which I guess she did, but it was like a tiny bit. But it was always like, I'm selling this house. So yeah, just the fact that it got resolved just was a bit unbelievable to me. I knew it was going to happen because I've read the books, and I've said previously, where the hell are they going to get married if there's no summer house? Yeah, but I just found it just a bit unbelievable that she would suddenly be like, you know what, actually, I'm going to be nice now. Like, yeah, that just didn't work for me. I wanted to talk about Skye because a lot of people have had some different opinions about them. I thought Skye was a good addition. I thought she was a good character. The only thing that happened that I was like, I don't know why you've done that, was in, I don't know what episode it is, it might be like episode 7, where they have the party and Milo comes to the party uninvited, and he talks to Skye and Cam Cameron, and Skye is just being so rude to him, and I don't understand why. Like, it was almost like they saw Milo and kind of judged him completely off his appearance, like bleached blonde hair and, I don't know, a chain necklace, and were like, you're a douchebag and now I'm going to treat you like a douchebag. Like, they were just so rude to him for no reason. Like, this is Taylor's boyfriend who's just arrived and you're being so rude. Like, I just found that so rude. I didn't understand why, because I get that Milo, all the characters were kind of like taking the piss out of him type thing and like all this stuff, but he also had never ever, in my opinion, done anything bad. Like, he'd never done anything to Taylor or anything to warrant like being this rude to him. So when Skye was acting like that towards him, I just was like, why? Like, why is happening? It seemed like out of character to me for Skye, because Skye comes across as like a good person. So for them to suddenly start acting like that, I was like, I don't understand. And I didn't really like it because Milo hadn't done anything and they were just being so hostile towards him for no reason. So that was kind of the only thing that I had to say about Skye, really. Yeah, that was a bit disappointing. When Adam was like railroaded in the second to last episode, why did I like low-key feel bad for him? Like it was just everyone, like it was Laurel and Julia being like, you asshole, and then like all the kids, like I was like, why do I feel bad for you? But like I am happy that it worked out and like they sorted it all out, and he kind of got like a little bit of a redemption and a little bit kind of bonded with his sons and had a better relationship. But yeah, I was like, I actually feel sorry for you, like in this moment, which I didn't expect to feel sorry for Adam. The next thing I wanted to touch on is in like episode, I'm gonna guess like 5, when they break in to the country club and they stay there for the night, when they're having the discussion on the golf course and they're playing, I think they're playing Truth or Dare, and they ask Cam Cameron like, what's your biggest regret or whatever, and then he like talks about how he wishes he'd spent more time with his sister or whatever he said, who'd passed away. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time we're ever hearing that Cam had a sister, that he had anyone that he knew that passed away. And I feel like I didn't really like that. I felt like that was literally just tacked on and added so quickly just to kind of give, I don't know, give an insight into what Conrad and Jeremiah are now dealing with, like, and Belly and Stephen are dealing with, like, just as an insight to grief. Like, it felt like they just made him have a dead sister to be like, look, he lost someone as well. Like, I don't know, I didn't really like it. For me, it felt super just like, yeah, tacked on, just like added without any real depth for me. And I myself have lost a sibling, and I find comfort in like shows that show loss of a sibling, and I can relate, and I feel like I'm seen and stuff like that. And an example of a show that I think did that really, really well was Stranger Things and Max with Billy. I think that was really, really good and felt in no way tacked on or added for like any higher purpose. And yeah, Cam Cameron and his sister just really didn't do it for me. It didn't work for me. It just felt like, oh, just give him a dead sister. Like, we're just gonna do that. And like, I don't know. I didn't really like that too much as someone who has gone through it. But that's me being like really, really picky. I just don't understand really why it was added, except to kind of make Conrad and Jeremiah able to talk about Susanna. But I feel like they could have talked about them in other ways. But yeah, that's just how I felt about that. I absolutely loved the Conrad and Belly moments when they were together, when they were in the beach house at Christmas, when he like picks her up in the car. Yeah, any moment like that, I was loving it. I am a Belly and Conrad shipper, so yeah, any bit like that, I was very happy to see them, at least, because season 2, guessing it's off book 2, is very much like the Belly and Jeremiah book, not Belly and Conrad. So it was nice that even though it's not like the Belly and Conrad season, we were getting still some nice scenes between them. Yeah, it was really, really nice, and I loved all the Taylor Swift that was playing throughout them as well. Talking of the music, as just like season 1, the soundtrack and the editing were 10 out of 10, spot on. Love the soundtrack so much. We obviously got so much Taylor Swift, we got Olivia Rodrigo, we got Frank Ocean. One song that I was like amazing was in the final episode when they played How to Disappear by Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey is one of my favourite artists ever. So when that started playing, I was like, they've done it. They've blown me away with this one. Yeah. So yeah, I really loved the editing and the music. I thought it was really, really good. And the editing is just always really like fresh and fun and like works with the music, which is very nice, and I highly appreciate it. Next thing I want to talk about was Belly, because I've been seeing a lot of Belly slander online, and just wanted to like put my 2 cents in a little bit. But just to say, basically, I don't hate Belly. I know a lot of people do, and they feel like she's hurting these 2 boys and pitting 2 brothers against each other type thing. But I really don't hate her, because I've read the books, and like I've watched season 1, and like, you know what the show is. Like, you watch the trailer for season 1 or 2 and you know what it is. Like, it's a love triangle, it's a romance, it's about a girl choosing between 2 brothers. Like, that is what the story is. That's what the books are, that's what they always have been. So then I find when people are getting mad that Belly's doing that, it's like, but what did you expect? Like, this is the story, this is what it is, like, this is the story. Like, this is what happens. So yeah, I just find, I don't hate her, and I think just for me, when I watch this show, I come at it from a very light-hearted angle and approach. And so like, people being like, Belly's emotionally manipulating both of them, and blah, I'm like, it's a teen show. Like, Belly is not evil, it's a teen show, and she's just figuring out love and life. So I just don't hate her, and I just think it's like, it was never that serious, okay? It was never that serious. Yeah, I love Belly still. I love Conrad and I love Jeremiah. Don't dislike any of them, but I am Team Conrad, just because I feel like they're written in the stars, they're meant to be. I feel like it's like the whole concept of the book is the fact that Jeremiah only liked Belly once she turned pretty, whereas Conrad had always liked her, always had love for her, basically. Like, that's the whole concept. So then it's like, to be Team Jeremiah like goes against it all. So I'm not Team Jeremiah. Don't hate Belly at all. I in fact still love her very much. Sometimes I found the dialogue cringe, which is something I said with season 1. I feel like with a teen show that's not written by teens, inevitably, because you're not going to be finding loads of teens in writers' rooms, there are just going to be cringe moments where the dialogue is cringe because it's not authentically written by a teen, and that's fine. And yeah, there were a few moments in this season where I found it a bit cringe. I'm trying to think of examples. I'd say like maybe any moment where like Taylor is like talking about being a bad bitch. Like, I don't know, I found that a bit cringe, but it was okay. It was fine. It was watchable, but yeah, just a few moments where I was like, would people say that in real life? I don't know. I said I'm Team Conrad, but I must say his motivations throughout the show, like season 1, I feel like season 2 I know what's going on, but his motivations throughout season 2 I just didn't really understand. Like, I feel like it's all so jumbled because he's obviously dealing with grief. Well, he's at first, before Susanna passes away, it's like dealing with denial or dealing with the fact that she might die. Then it's dealing with grief, and then it's like he feels like he's a disappointment to Belly and like he's always letting her down, so it's like he lets her go because he feels like he's hurting her by being with her. But then it's like he then sees her again and like likes her again, and like, I don't know, I found his motivations quite confusing, but that might just mean that I need to like watch it again and kind of think like what is going on in Conrad's brain, and like the whole thing with like Stanford and like that giving him a panic attack that he got in, even though it's like a good thing. Yeah, it's just, I think what he was feeling is probably just very complex, and I think I probably need a second watch to like fully understand his motivations, because yeah, I did find them a bit odd at sometimes and kind of just didn't understand them. I think maybe it might also help if I reread the books, although I know the show and the books are separate entities, but it might jog my memory of like the reason, like what he actually is thinking, because I know you get like Conrad's POV, so yeah, I might just need to do that. Just something that I'm thinking back on, I'm like, so confused. He was so confusing. Like, how can we not expect Belly to be confused when these boys are so confusing? And as I said, I am Team Conrad, but that final kiss with Jer had me absolutely screaming. Like, why was it so good? I don't know what it was. Like, it was just so like, I feel like the chemistry was just really there between Jer and Belly in that moment, and just, yeah, that kiss was amazing. Although, interestingly enough, one thing I found when watching that kiss was it felt like a very much like lust-filled kiss. Yeah, very lustful. And the thing with lust is that it fades, like, right? Like, you feel lust for a person, maybe in a relationship, and the lust fades, and what you're left with is like love and companionship and all that stuff. So it's interesting that like, yeah, their kiss feels very lustful, but it's like that's not necessarily something that is sustainable, which I'm not saying that that means that there's not going to be love or companionship, but I think it's just interesting that that's kind of the vibe that I get from their kiss. And I loved it had me screaming, but yeah, felt very, very lustful as opposed to full of love. And it had me screaming, but the end with Conrad did make me very upset, with him essentially being like, I release her, like I'm gonna leave them alone, I want them to be happy together, I'm gonna go. And he leaves, and it plays Taylor Swift, and he has a panic attack. It was very sad, because I love Conrad, I'm Team Conrad, so the fact that he is suffering but kind of pretending that he's not was very sad, and I'm not gonna lie, it did devastate me. Online, I've also been seeing loads of theories about like Belly being an unreliable narrator, which I'd never really thought about before. I think that does come across a bit in the book, but in the show I'd never considered it. And it's really interesting theory, to be honest, with the theory of like, she thinks that Jer's perfect for her and amazing, but if she's an unreliable narrator, then it's like, is he really? And then like, it actually turns out that Conrad is the one who's better suited to her type of thing. But yeah, it's just a theory, but I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And there are quite a lot of like things to suggest that theory as well. And also there was a lot of reference to like Gatsby and Belly now being like Daisy, and how Susanna was like Daisy and like to be the centre of attention and stuff. And by the way, Daisy Buchanan is one of my favourite characters ever, so I don't think someone being a Daisy is necessarily an insult. But yeah, like I do see it in Belly now becoming the Daisy of like kind of the way she's moving could hurt people and kind of like not caring as much as you maybe would think Belly would type thing. All this stuff that's really, really interesting. I feel like honestly I just need to do a separate video about Conrad and like why I'm team Conrad essentially, and why I think they are like he is better suited to her, and why, and this whole like unreliable narrative thing, and like how then Belly will come to realize like, oh no, Conrad, like I was seeing him, I was getting him all wrong basically. That's like a whole other video. But yeah, just really interesting that I've been seeing all these theories flying around. And to conclude, overall, I did really like it. I did really like season 2. I didn't like it as much as season 1, but I feel like I just had such a big connection to season 1, and it felt so fun and innocent and just summer. And this one is a lot more heavy in terms of the grief, and they're going to lose their house and all this stuff. And there were definitely still fun elements, but yeah, I think season 1 will just always be a cherished season for me. But I did still really enjoy this. I do like the way they told this season. I was gonna say I like where the story's headed. I don't want her to be with Jeremiah, but I'm holding out hope that everything will be made right in season 3. And also because I am team Conrad, I always knew that like season 2 wasn't going to be my fave, because as I've said, I assume that season 2 is book 2, which was my least favourite book as well, because it just was less Conrad and it was very much the Jeremiah and Belly show, which this season has been a bit as well. So yeah, not as good as season 1, but I did enjoy it, and I would recommend everyone to watch it. If you watch season 1, I do think season 2 is worth it, even to just be able to get to season 3 and hopefully see the end game that we all deserve. But that's it. That's all my thoughts. I can't believe now we're gonna have to wait at least a whole year to see some more. That's really upsetting, but it's fine. I'll reread the books and I'll be fine. It'll be okay. We can do this. Team Conrad girlies, we've got this. We can do this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this season as well. And yeah, that's about it. Bye.